Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A lawsuit challenging the exchanges, or at least the subsidies, in states that do not have state exchanges has not been dismissed. This suit will continue to go forward. It could be a big blow to Obamacare. I am Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, there has been a lawsuit against the Obamacare that says that there is no statutory authority under the Obamacare law to give a subsidy for insurance in states that have not set up state exchanges. That would be a big blow to Obamacare because there's about 34 states that have opted not to set up their own state exchanges. So the federal government is setting up an exchange there, but it's not a state exchange. Obamacare only authorizes these subsidies in states where the state has set up an exchange. So that means 34 at least states do not have that option, and yet the administration is acting as though they can still give the subsidies anyway.
And that's what they're attempting to do. The lawsuit is saying, no, they do not have the authority, and they're right, the authority to set up these exchanges with the 34 states that have declined to set up state exchanges, that is not authorized in Obamacare. So the federal government does not have, and the Obama administration does not have the authority to step up and set up these exchanges because they're not written into the law. Well, that creates a huge problem. For this president, it doesn't seem to create a problem because he's in the habit of doing things which he does not have the authority to do. However, the fact that this case has been allowed, that a federal judge has allowed this case to move forward, does not bode well for this Obama administration. This could ultimately be, we've got death by 1,000 cuts. This could be one, if not the main Achilles heel that could take Obamacare down.
It could be another one of the big dings in Obamacare, no question about it. There was a federal lawsuit that was filed in the District of Columbia, and the case was alleging that the administration is acting without statutory or legal authority whenever it seeks to offer a federal subsidy to people who are seeking insurance. And that federal subsidy happens when, for example, you have an insurance coverage with your private employer, but it doesn't cover something that is required under Obamacare, and you have to go out of that policy and get a policy in the exchange, then you get a subsidy or a tax credit for that. Or, for example, if you just simply don't have insurance and you go out into that state exchange directly and you have all of your insurance covered, you can get a tax subsidy for that depending upon your income. Now, what the law says is that this state or this subsidy, this federal tax credit, is only available in the states that have opted to have a state-run exchange. Well, 34 states have opted not to have state-run exchanges. That means the federal government comes in and does the exchange itself because the state doesn't want anything to do with it. Well, the law does not provide for those subsidies in those states where the federal government is operating the exchange or the insurance program, and the states have chosen not to do it. So that means 34 states, possibly 36 states, simply will not have those subsidies. But the administration is acting as though they can do it anyway. This lawsuit was challenging the administration's authority. The Department of Justice wanted it to be dismissed. The judge said, no, it's not going to be dismissed. Big blow for the Obama administration. The lawsuit is going forward. If they are successful, that'll be a big blow to Obamacare.
Matt, but again, isn't this once again a metaphor for the problems that have been inherent within Obamacare since its inception? 34 at least, possibly 36 states, nearly 3/4 of the states don't want anything to do with this. The American people did not want Obamacare. We still don't want Obamacare. We don't want government health care. And here's what's ironic. You look at what's happening with the website. It is completely melted down. It doesn't work, and there's no evidence that it will ever work. So what does this Obama administration do? They bring in Verizon, a private enterprise, to come in and try to fix this website because the government is incompetent to handle the job. What does that say about the government's ability to handle the implementation of Obamacare, even if the website is fixed? The federal government is incompetent to make this monstrosity work, so they bring in private enterprise. That we need to get back to square one, wipe the slate clean, and come up with some workable health care reform.
Yeah, what's going to happen here? This particular article quotes a study by Case Western Reserve University School of Law's Jonathan Adler and the Cato Institute's Michael Cannon in an article regarding taxation without representation, the illegal IRS rule to expand tax credits under the PPACA, which is the Obamacare law. And in the study, they say this, quote, an Internal Revenue Service rule purports to extend these tax credits and subsidies. This is administrative rule now, IRS rule, purports to extend the subsidies and tax credits to the purchase of health insurance in federal exchanges created in states without exchanges of their own. It goes on to say that, quote, the text, structure, and history of the Act show that the tax credits and subsidies are not available in federally run exchanges. The IRS rule is contrary to congressional intent and cannot be justified under other legal grounds. Now, that being the case, and this IRS rule is struck down because the rule can only implement the intent or specific authorization of what the statute actually provides. You have the statute that comes from the legislature, and then you have the administrative branch that prepares rules to implement the actual words or the intent of that law. If the law itself, which I believe is correct, only provides that these subsidies are in state-run exchanges, then no administrative rule can change that. They can try, which is what they're trying to do, but it has no legal effect. That's what's being challenged. Now, if that rule is struck down, that could gut Obamacare in 34 states.
Well, if this lawsuit ultimately prevails, not only could it gut Obamacare in 34 states, Obamacare just completely melts down. It unwinds. And it is unwinding, and it is melting down. But this is just another example. So, what happens, Matt, ultimately, if this lawsuit prevails, if we prevail at the Supreme Court, we have our case, we have a petition to the Supreme Court to take our case, Liberty University v. Liu. Everything is piling up against Obamacare, and it's no wonder now that, as we recently spoke about, we have at least 10 Democrat senators that are looking and desperately trying to delay the implementation of Obamacare for another year. The wheels are coming off this thing.
Yeah, they're really coming off all across the board. I mean, you've got these mounting legal challenges. You've got the Hobby Lobby case. You've got the Liberty case. You have many other cases that are out there challenging Obamacare. You've got this particular case challenging the exchanges. If the exchange rule is struck down, 34 states won't be able to give subsidies. That means that these insurance companies now under Obamacare are sending out letters canceling people's insurance coverage. And you're thinking, well, maybe there's not going to be a lot of people going into the exchange. Yes, there is. Why? Well, because many of the insurance companies are saying, we're no longer going to insure you. That means people who otherwise have insurance are going to be forced into the exchanges. There's 34 states where people are going to be forced into the exchanges, and then when they look at the premiums and the deductibles, they're going to say, this is a lot worse than what I had with my private insurance through my employer. I have to pay more premiums, the deductible is higher. I can't afford it. I'm going to go out and get a subsidy, and they can't get the subsidy. So all across the board, Obamacare is starting to implode. It was a bad idea from the beginning. We're now starting to see how bad it really is.
Well, the American people, Democrat, Republican, left and right, are revolting en masse. This Obamacare is now being fueled solely by the ego of one man, Barack Hussein Obama. This is his signature piece of legislation. He recognizes that if this goes down, it means his whole presidency is utterly a failure. And so he is, for his own sake, to the detriment of the American people, seeks to make this thing happen. It's not going to happen. It will not work.
Well, go to Liberty Counsel's website. We have a couple of websites for you to visit, libertycounsel.com, libertycounsel.com. And on that website, we have a lot of different kinds of petitions that you can sign, and you can also get on the email list to get new petitions on issues affecting family, faith, and freedom. That's libertycounsel.com. You can also go to lc.org, Liberty Counsel's other main website, lc.org, and sign up for the Liberty Alert email and other grassroots action emails there as well. You can also ask for the book by David Barton, Original Intent, also our Patriots Handbook series, which has a lot of information about the Second Amendment, pastors, churches, and political activities, and much more. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.